How is it going, guys? It has been way too long since we've done one of these, a new products video specifically for the WRX. So we have a lot of catching up to do. And to be honest, I've actually been driving this car a lot more than any other car I have because it just makes for the perfect daily driver. But with that being said, let's take a look at some of the new products that have been released in the past few months. Before we get into it, I do want to let you guys know, for those that are curious, yes, there is going to be a Black Friday sale. Let me get into some details here. It's going to start this Friday, and there's a video that will come out on Friday with more info. But the gist of it is that you're going to be able to get up to 25% off, which is nuts. I've never discounted anything on the site that much before. That's more than double what I've discounted in the past. But I figured you guys have been here with me through thick and thin every step of the way and helped pick me up and build Driven Media to what it is today. So this is sort of my way to give back. So hopefully you guys can take advantage and save some money on parts that you have been dying to get. Like I said, more details will come out on Friday. So make sure you're subscribed and you're subscribed to the emails as well. There will be some new products that will get released during that time period. So just make sure you stay up to date and come back to the YouTube channel or Instagram or check out any of the social media channels and you'll see what is going on. But with that being said, let's get back to the new products video. Of course, we've got to start off with some new products from Driven Media. Now, pretty much every Subaru that I hop in, one of my biggest gripes is the interior. It's just plain and boring to me. And I get that we're not in any sort of luxury vehicle, but it takes, I remember back when I drove my bug-eye WRX or just older cars, they had more character. There was the STI blue accents or the stitching or the small details that I feel are missing in this car. When I sit in here, it just feels bland and boring and it's not exciting. So we've given it the same treatment we did with the GR86 and BRZ. We've added a ton of carbon accessories to spice things up. We'll start with this piece right here. This is the center console hood cover. So this piece sits over the top of the radio and it's a nice accent right in the middle of the dash. It's super easy to install. All these pieces are super easy to install. There's double-sided tape already pre-applied on the backside, so all you have to do is peel the backing off, make sure the surface is clean, and then carefully place it into position. Now, another thing that bothers me inside this interior is the silver accents. Again, it's just boring and plain. So we've covered that up with carbon fiber. This is the shifter trim here. This fits obviously around the shifter, installs over the silver piece, and it looks so much better. Same thing on the dash. They have these silver trim pieces going across the dash and into the door cards. I hate it. So we have the dashboard trim piece. That's actually two different pieces, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side as well. So it connects both pieces across the whole dash. And then on to the door cards, we have the door handle surround pieces that cover up that fake carbon that they've put around the door handles. I think the fake carbon is worse than the silver, so we have real carbon going over the top of that. And also on the door cards is the window switch panels. So we have covers for all four doors. The carbon completely surrounds all of the switches. And again, it just looks much more pristine than just the normal black plastic or silver accents. If you're looking to spice up your steering wheel, there's a couple different options. You can go with the lower steering wheel trim, which is the bezel on the lower spoke, or just the regular steering wheel trim, which is the center of that lower spoke that goes around the WRX emblem. Or you can pair the two together and have the lower spoke completely carbon fiber. This next Driven Media product is one of those things that you don't know you need until you actually see what it does. It's the wide angle heated mirrors. So right now, the camera is in the driver's seat pointed at the side view mirror, and I'm sitting right next to the rear wheel on a stool. So take a mental picture of what you're able to see right now, and I'm gonna swap out to the wide angle mirrors so you can see how much more you're able to see. It's such an improvement on visibility. So all I have to do is pop these out and unplug these connections. We'll take the new mirror, which these don't have the blind spot monitoring or the welcome light, which my car has. So I'm just gonna tuck those wires back in there. We'll pop this into place. And I'm gonna try to aim this to the same spot. Let's see if you're able to see me from there. A little low, let me adjust it up. All right, that's better. Now, take a look at how much more you are able to see now. Before, you basically just saw probably chest level to my head, and now you're able to see much more of my body. You can see the car, you can see more of the lift. You're able to see up to 40% more compared to the stock mirror. I don't know why these cars don't come with these already, but it's a no-brainer. There's two different versions to choose from. There is the blue tint, which is what you saw in the demonstration. This helps to cut down on glare from other headlights, street lights, and the sun. If you aren't a fan of the blue tint, you can also go the clear version for the OEM Plus look. And like you saw, these are direct replacements. So you just pop your stock mirrors off, unplug them, and these go right in place. Now my car has the puddle lights or welcome lights and the auto dimming mirrors, and to be honest, I think the dimming mirrors get too dark. I lose a lot of detail at night. I've been using these blue tinted ones. I can see a lot more of the cars that are around me versus just blobs of light that I saw with the dimming mirrors. It is crazy the increase in visibility these give you. Every car should have these. This is probably the product that I'm most excited about this month. These are the new Driven Media D-Spec sequential LED taillights. As you can see, there are 4 different variations, so I'm gonna run through them here real quick. The one on my right is the CBR, which is the clear lens black base with the red bar for the parking light. Next to that, we have the CBW, so same clear lens, black base, but with a white bar. And then we have the smoked lens versions. This is the SBR, so smoke lens, black base, red bar, and the SBW, same thing, but with the white bar. Now these are currently available for pre-order on the website. They retail for $499.99, but for pre-order, we're knocking 50 bucks off, so they're sitting at $449.99. Plus, every set that gets pre-ordered is gonna come with a set of overlays. So let's say you get the clear version, but you don't really care for the little bit of chrome that's showing through in this reverse light section. You can install a pair of these overlays to essentially smoke that out, but retain the clear lens so you can see the detail of the red or white bar. Now, these are completely plug and play direct replacements, so you don't have to do any special wiring. You literally unplug your stock taillights, plug these in, and you are good to go. There are some options that you can change on the back of the taillight. I'll go through those in a little bit, but let's go ahead and install a set on the car and I'll run through the functions with you guys. I'm gonna start by turning the lights on so you can see the startup sequence, which is a sequential effect for that C light, and then it pulses before it becomes a solid light. And this is how the lights are going to look when you're driving around at night. I'm gonna step on the brake and you should see the C light section light up brighter, as well as the upper center portion of the light. So this is going to be the brake light. And I'll hit the hazard so you can see the turn signals. Again, these are sequential turn signals right inside that C light that go up. And you can switch these to normal blinking turn signals if you'd like. And you can also turn off the startup sequence if you want to opt for that. We'll put the car into reverse. And again, that is going to be the center section that lights up. And I'm gonna turn the lights off and go through the functions again so you can see how this would look during the day. So here are the brake lights. So it's gonna be the C light and the upper center section again. And here's the turn signals. And reverse. As I mentioned, there are two different things that you can control on the back of the taillight. So let's take a look at this one here. There are two of these black connectors on the back side. One with blue wires and one with brown wires. The brown wires control the sequential turn signal and the blue wire controls the startup sequence. By default, these are plugged in, which means those are turned on. So if you want to turn either of those off, all you have to do is disconnect those wires. So if you want to turn the sequential turn signal off and just have it be a regular flashing turn signal, unplug the brown wire. And if you want to turn off the startup sequence, unplug the blue wire. Super simple and easy. Obviously, make sure you do this on both sides. And like I mentioned, these are currently available for pre-order. There is a limited quantity available. So once those pre-orders fill up, those will close. So if you want to guarantee yourself a set, make sure you head over to the website and get your order placed today. Sliding underneath the car, we're going to talk about some exhaust options, starting with the header. Now, Subaru has been well known for quite some time for the iconic Subaru Rumble, but that is no longer the case with the VB WRX, the previous gen, because they've swapped to an equal length header design versus the unequal length. I'm not gonna get into the whole unequal length versus the equal length debate, but what I can say is that NVIDIA has now released an unequal length header for the VB WRX that is gonna give you some of that rumble back. So if you're chasing that Subaru Rumble exhaust tone, that is now an option you can take. They also released an equal length version. So if you want to stick with the OE equal length design, you can go that route, which is usually going to give you the better performance gains. So if you are mainly focused on getting the most performance out of the FA24, I would suggest going with the equal length option. But if you are more concerned with getting that Subaru Rumble and the really iconic exhaust tone out of this car, and you aren't worried about eking out every single horsepower or foot-pound of torque, you can go with the unequal length option. Another option we have is the Parin equal length header. Now we can actually talk about some power numbers because they've released some testing that they've done. They saw an increase of about 5 to 10 wheel horsepower and torque on a stage 1 VB WRX. So that is their header, catback, and an intake. I will say, no matter what option you go with, either unequal length or equal length, most aftermarket options are usually going to be better than the OEM header because they're going to open up that exhaust flow and smooth out the restrictions. Now back to the Parin header, they've actually designed theirs to allow you to transfer over the heat shields from the OEM header onto the Parin header so you retain that heat management. The primaries and secondaries are enlarged by 14% over the stock header. I'm sure they did a bunch of R&D to really nail down that number. You don't want it to be too big or too small because that's going to mess with the balance of things, and they came up with 14%. The header is finished off in a brushed stainless steel, and they also advertise this as no tune needed. Now, I always recommend getting a tune when installing a header on a car just to be safe, and it's gonna give you the most gains as possible. So it kind of just makes sense to get the car tuned, but Parin does say that no tune is necessary and it is compatible with any Cobb off-the-shelf tune on the access port. So do whatever you'd like, but I suggest getting a tune. An aftermarket header is gonna give you that boost in performance and change the exhaust tone, but if you don't wanna deal with installing it and the tuning and such, another great way, actually probably the #1 way to modify your exhaust tone is with a Catback exhaust. It's super easy to install, literally some nuts and bolts and some hangers. We're gonna talk about 3 different options for you, starting with the X-Force valved Catback exhaust. I actually have an X-Force valved exhaust currently installed on my GR86 because it makes for the perfect daily driver, because it allows you to control how loud your exhaust is using the valves. So let's say you're in your neighborhood, it's late at night or early in the morning, you're leaving for work and you don't want to wake up your neighbors or bother anybody, you can close the valves so your exhaust is quiet. And when you leave the area, maybe you're doing some spirited driving or you just want to be able to hear your car, you can open up those valves and it sounds like a completely different exhaust system. They even make what they call the smart box, which you can add to the exhaust that allows you to control the valves through an app on your phone. And it's connected to GPS, so you can set it to automatically adjust the valves depending on where you're at. So you could set it to when you get close to your house, it automatically closes, and when you leave the area, it opens back up. Super cool feature to have. Another option we'll talk about is the Remark Sports Touring Resonated Catback exhaust. I've ran a couple different Remark exhausts on my cars before. Super high quality systems with a great exhaust tone. This one in particular is gonna be more for those of you looking for a more mature exhaust tone that's not over the top. It's got a large 19-inch long resonator with mufflers to help cut down on that unwanted noise while still giving you a deep and aggressive throaty pitch. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit more aggressive than stock, but not overly obnoxious, this is gonna be a great option for you. Last but not least, we have the AFE Power Takeda Catback exhaust. This has a really interesting design. Right before the tips, it has sort of a roundabout in terms of how the exhaust piping is routed. I'm not sure exactly why they went with that design, whether it's to just fill in the gap where the OEM mufflers are, or maybe it does have some sort of effect on how the exhaust sounds. It's definitely interesting to look at. But this is essentially a straight pipe Catback exhaust. There's no mufflers, no resonator. So it's gonna be the loudest out of the 3 that we're talking about today. Basically the opposite of the Remark. This is going to be a lot louder, and it's likely going to introduce a small or large amount of drone. I haven't heard it in person. From what I read, there is a slight amount of drone that is added, but that's to be expected with an exhaust like this. But if you don't care and you just want your car to be loud and to be able to hear it wherever you go, this is gonna be a great option for you. Jumping back over to the performance side of things, Cobb Tuning. You may have heard of them. They have been working diligently to release products for the VB WRX. We're gonna talk specifically about the new front mount intercooler kit that they just released. The most important thing being that this is a 50-state legal product with a CARB EO number. So if you're in California, you don't have to worry about the cops harassing you or getting state wrapped. It features a Garrett core, which is 24 inches long, 8 inches tall, and 3 inches thick. And on the top and bottom of that core, you can see custom-made end tanks with the inlet and outlet on the same side. Makes the installation super clean and simple, probably one of the easiest kits that you can install on this car. Of course, you're gonna get the wrinkle black intercooler piping and the silicone couplers. It even comes with air deflectors, which is fantastic to see, as well as a bumper beam that retains the OEM tow hook location. But if you're looking to add some big power to the FA24 in the VBWRX that has been shown to have big potential, proper cooling is a must, so definitely take a look at the new Cobb Tuning front mount intercooler. For those of you that are in the market for a new set of wheels, I actually saw some new ones at SEMA this year. They are the Graham-Lights 57NRs. They're available in 2 different finishes. There is a glass black, which I would describe as sort of gunmetal with flake to it. And then there's a dark bronze, which is basically a matte bronze. These will come in an 18 by 9.5 plus 38, which is a perfect fitment for the VB and the VA. Not much difference between the fitments for the two. And they really remind me of a CE28 with just more pronounced spokes. So an iconic look that's gonna work on pretty much any build. If you're looking to add some chassis bracing to your car, or maybe you want some engine bay dress up, or a little bit of both, Aeroflow Dynamics has their strut tower bars now available. You get both the front and rear in the kit, and they're super easy to install. The front is literally 6 nuts, and the rear is 4. They're finished off in a nice matte black to go with any color combination you've got going on. And these are gonna help to stiffen up the chassis under high load conditions. The WRX has always been well known for its rally background that Subaru developed in the past, but the car nowadays isn't truly very off-road capable, mainly because of the ground clearance issues. So if you're looking to do the opposite of lowering it and slamming it to the ground, you want to lift it, you can opt for the Rally-Tech Lift Rally-X Spring Kit, which gives you a 1.5-inch lift. That's going to give you some more of that ground clearance and allow you to stuff bigger, more aggressive off-road tires in here so you can go off and do rallycross and off-roading and channel your inner Colin McRae of the past. And that is gonna do it for this month's new products video. If you guys liked anything you saw, all the links are down in the description. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I am always happy to help. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.